everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. Thank you for joining us today. As you can see, I have a guest on my show today. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, I want to give you a special shout out. And for those of you that have been watching the show every week, Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, you know that this is your show. This show is for you. This show is a show of, we're going through this journey of self-discovery, where we come into the place of truth. We come into the place where we discover our true selves and our true identity so that we can live our lives organically and walk in total authenticity, being ourselves, not having to perform. And Joe, surprisingly, I'm telling you, if you want to know what the definition of authenticity is, or being an authentic person, in my estimation, it is Joe. And it is really a delight to have you, Joe. I'm going to read a little bit about her background, and then we're going to get started today. We have something really special plan, and it has to do with the Thanksgiving holiday that's just about 3 weeks around the corner. So Joe is a spiritual mentor, and I'm going to be looking at my iPad right here because I'm going to be reading this. This is her bio. She is a spiritual mentor, empowerment speaker, and the founder and CEO of Project Beauty. I love that name, by the way, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe is a visionary who turned personal adversity into a movement of healing and empowerment. As a survivor of domestic abuse and chronic health challenges, she transformed her journey into purpose, creating Project Beauty, which is a nonprofit that partners with about 15 shelters across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. To restore dignity, confidence, and hope to thousands of women rebuilding their life. What a worthy cause, and that is so much needed. Her innovative, heart-centered approach of healing through beauty and self-love. You guys know that's right up my alley, because we talk about that being your birthright, not only to be happy, but to feel well and overall wellness and health and so forth. So this is, again, one of the reasons that we connected so well.
Yes.
Let me just play that back again. Her innovative, heart-centered approach to healing through beauty and self-love earned her the prestigious Social Innovator of the Year award from United Way of Dallas. Now, her work has also been featured on media platforms, Fox News and WFAA, and others as well, where she shared her message of courage, compassion, and reclaiming one's self-worth. We talk a lot about self-worth, because unless you know who you are, unless you know your self-worth, you won't know who you are. That's first. You have to know who you are, and not the identity that's been imposed upon us by default. That just happens by default. You're growing up and you have the influence of cultural construct, societal construct, and traditional norms, religious indoctrination, and all of that information is what forms us, create an identity. That's why sometimes we don't know who we are. Why? Because on the inside, you know who you're created to be, but you can't, because you're following a structure, you're following a modality, you're following traditional norms, and it's really not who you are. So again, we're going to talk more about that. Joe stands firmly in the belief that every woman is powerful, worthy, and beautifully made, and she is here to help activate that truth. Now, she's going to mention that to the end, but to learn more about Project Beauty and Joe's ongoing work, her website is theprojectbeauty.org.
Yes.
I really want to encourage you to check it out. And you may even know someone that could benefit from her program, and so we want to encourage you to take advantage of that. So Thanksgiving, we talked a lot about holidays, and for me, you guys know that I am going through this journey with you as well, this journey of self discovery. And again, mine started about 15 years ago and 16 years ago, and it just gets better. You also know that this is a season that I call my savage season. And what is that? That is the season where I am discovering so much more of me, and I'm really shedding, getting rid of things, traditional norms or things that I subscribe to without really giving it any thought. What I'm doing now is aligning the things that come up in my life, and in this case, now it's a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday was one of my well, this season of the year, it comes November, December, and so forth. But I am revisiting all of that now because I've reached a place where I simply want to be me. I don't want to be structured by, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it gives me the freedom to navigate life, as I always share,
Yep.
do life on your own terms. That
Yes.
works for me, and and I'm unapologetic. So we're going to
Yep.
talk about breaking tradition. We're going to talk about you choosing peace over performance. And
Mm.
let me mention, this show it's not for everyone, and it's not meant to offend anyone, and it's not meant to take away your joy and your excitement for the holidays that are coming up. But then again, there are those people that are going through anxiety about the
Yes.
holidays. Some because they can't be with their families, some because they're changing in their entire being, some because there are issues with the family and they have depression or anxiety, or they're going through things in their own lives. And we are here to tell you that you have to do what aligns with you, what you are in alignment with, and not really get out of that mode of performative behaviors, a performative life, performing, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, or psychologically. So, with that, I'm going to give Joe an opportunity to just kind of like briefly give us the heartbeat of what's on your mind, Joe. Before we get into these, we have kind of like a list of things that
Yeah.
from people, and people that share their apprehensions and their fears about the holidays, and how it doesn't, it's not the same for them anymore, and so forth. So
Yeah.
anyway, Joe, tell us about you.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you, Cynthia, for that amazing intro. I just want to say thank you for who you are and the platform that you've created for a safe space to discuss things that are non-traditional from the societal norms. And I'm just really grateful that we connected because I feel that we met in such a serendipitous way. And I'm a firm believer that our vibration, our vibes attract our vibe, our tribe, right?
Right.
Our vibes attract our tribe.
Our tribe.
So, living in my authenticity, operating in my truth, speaking my truth, living my truth have brought me to some really amazing people like yourself. And so I always like to take the opportunity to say that, when we're brave enough to live our authentic truth, we get to draw people in that are like-minded, and that's
Right.
how me and Cynthia connected. But I'm just really grateful to also share some of the things that I've been through in my life. Everything that I speak is really from a place of transformation experience. This topic was really interesting to us as we were brainstorming this show because, as someone who was married, who used to be in the religion, going to church, who had very firm traditions around holidays and family values. When I went through my awakening like 7 years ago, and I went through my divorce, like I went through a lot of life changes about 7 years ago. That was my opportunity to sit down and evaluate, well, what are the things in my life that no longer align with this version of me, right?
Yeah.
So I personally went through a process of self-discovery, you know,
Yeah.
after being married for like 10 plus years, after having children, after building an identity in the community, right? Being this other person. And so it was a challenge time because when you go through a self-discovery journey, although it's the self, everything that you ever believe in, those foundational truths come up for review. And
Yes.
it's
Right.
frightening at times
It
because
is.
you'll
Yes.
find out that a lot of your foundational truth are anchored and connected to those that are closest to you.
Right. Yes. I
Okay.
agree.
So when you come to the point where you realize that I no longer look at these set of beliefs the same way, and you don't even feel right doing the same things that you used to do year after year, that can not only challenge yourself, but the people that are around you that know this other version of you, right? So
Exactly.
I want to start out with that because, like, for those of you that are listening, it may sound like because you went through a recent relationship change,
Mhm.
it may sound like you're going through your own spiritual discovery awakening. And when I use the word spiritual, it is not in the religious content. We are all spiritual beings. We are all spirit. And so I use the word spiritual in that aspect, that we are aware that we are spiritual beings having this human experience, right?
Okay.
So when you're going through those challenges and you're starting to evaluate what fits in my life or not, holidays is a huge topic.
Right. Because it involves others.
Mm-hmm. And it's deeply rooted in a lot of the things that we hold dear, such as family dynamics, right? Such as what does it mean to gather your community, your sense of community. So it's connected to so many core truths that we believe to be part of our identity. That's why I was so excited when we said we're going to do the show together.
Now, when you say family, because that has changed. The definition
Mm,
of family has changed over the years,
yes.
and because of different dynamics. Sometimes it's because of location. We're no
Mm,
longer in the same geographic,
yes.
community and so forth, and so the definition of family has changed.
Yeah.
Family is not only there's family by genetics, and then the family that you build,
Yes.
and that, to me, uh, makes better sense. Now, there are some families that are very close, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing, especially if you live in the same, 2 blocks down is Aunt Betty, and 3 blocks down is Aunt Sarah, and so forth. That's a great thing, providing the relationship is real. But for those of you that are uh, far apart, perhaps in
Yeah.
another state, another country, then you have to redefine what family is. And family, and
Yes.
and it's all valid, Joe. It's all valid. That has to do with your tribe, the
Yeah.
people that you resonate with. You
Hmm.
like them, they like you. It has to do with the people in your community. It has
Yeah.
to do with the people, your friends, the one that embrace you, people that want you in their lives, and vice versa.
Ooh.
That's what
Yes.
defines family
Yeah.
in today's 21st century. I talk a lot about that. This is the 21st century, so we
Yeah.
need to be relevant to the times
Yes.
and not hang on to the tradition that it has to be the macaroni and cheese, it has to be the turkey, it has to be the pumpkin pie. That's
Yeah.
that's changed.
Yes. I love that. I love how you explain that as the time evolved, our definition of family evolved. I really can relate to this. I'm an immigrant from Hong Kong. So I immigrated to the United States, at a very tender age of like 14. So my definition of family definitely is different, it's different than a lot of people because I didn't grow up here in this area in Texas. And
Right.
so, and then also I left home at a very early age, right? So I really understood that family are the people that you built connections with are the people that are
Absolutely.
reciprocal in their nourishment to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a really important thing is that a lot of times, you know, and I'm sure you heard this before, it's like blood is thicker than water.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
Right? We
Yeah.
hear these sayings in the American culture
Right.
where what they're trying to say is that well, family gets a different type of treatment. That family should get almost like
A
a
pass.
timeout. Yeah,
A pass. Like a
a
pass.
pass.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and I really want people to challenge that belief because there's a lot of things that can happen in your family that you should not give a pass to.
Absolutely.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. That's very good.
So I really want to challenge those people that are listening that really resonate with the point of family is that think about in your life, you know, who is considered your family? Who are those people?
Right.
You know, and are they truly your tribe?
Right. And sometimes, when we talk about family, we are afraid to set boundaries.
Mm,
Why? Because, well, they're family, they belong. But not everyone, what we have to understand is that family, they're people. They're
they're people.
people like they're just people. With,
Yes.
yeah, with personalities, with qualities, characteristics, attributes. Some are good, some are not so good. Well, I mean, that's relative because who defines good or bad? But sometimes like I don't relate to certain behaviors of
Yeah.
perhaps a family member. And
Yeah.
that's again,
Yes.
that's not good or bad, right or wrong. It just doesn't resonate with me. And that is okay. But
Yes.
the fact that they're family doesn't mean that everyone deserves access.
That part. Let's say that again.
The
Cynthia.
fact that they're family by, as we would say, blood relative, it doesn't mean everyone deserves access. Not everyone deserves access. Take it
That's
from
right.
there, Joe. What? Give me your thoughts on that.
I absolutely agree. You know, I always say that we are the CEO of our lives.
Yes.
And as the CEO of our lives, we should hire and fire accordingly.
Yes.
And I don't mean that with just anyone who are in the position of a CEO. I mean that for everyone.
Yes.
You are the person that gets to decide who has access to you.
Right.
And growing up in my family was a bit, you know, we dealt with some challenges. And there's been many times in my life where I had to draw a very strong boundaries, even with my
Mm.
parents, you know, my birth
Oh, okay.
parents. And so even now I have very strict boundaries about seeing my father, you know, who was once abusive to me, right? And so, and I will share things that are a bit vulnerable, but I'm not going to get into anything that can trigger anyone. But based on the experience that I've had in my family, I had to learn to ask myself, am I jeopardizing my mental health when I'm around this certain person?
Mm.
Okay.
Wow. Yes.
Because a lot of times when we talk about being around family, what happens is that we are willing to put our peace in jeopardy
Yes.
for the sake of gathering.
Exactly. Right. Yes.
And that becomes an issue when your own mental health and your own peace is not okay.
Right.
Right? So we're not talking about the people that are looking forward to family and have no, you know, challenges with gathering with family. This is really for those who may feel anxiousness about seeing people around the holidays.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You'll know because you're looking at your calendar, you're almost dreading this time of year.
Right. Yes.
We're talking to you
Right.
if you feel those things.
Exactly.
Because instead of excitement, you're like, you're looking for an excuse to get out of the gathering.
Right. Yes. Wow.
That's the people that we're speaking to right now.
Yes. That's interesting. And the thing is that you can't, some compromise is going to have to happen. And it's
Of
either you're
course.
compromising your peace.
Yeah.
And when we talk about self-discovery, it's discovering what brings you peace.
Yes.
Now, are you entitled to that, or is that your birthright? And
There
who
we go.
decides that? Because the pressure of family, especially your close knit family, the expectation is there.
Yeah.
You are expected to be there. That is not even
Mm.
a question, especially if you live in the same uh,
City.
city.
You have
You
no excuse.
no excuse.
You're in the area.
Right. But the fact that you are an adult, that's what this show is all about. It comes a point where you have to choose you. It's about choosing yourself. And as I always say, it's not a matter of good or bad, right or wrong, true or false. It's
Yeah.
a decision that you make for your personal well being. Imagine this. And, when we talk about family, the whole idea is that it should be a safe place,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Are we safe going around the family not to perform
Mm.
happiness and gratitude and all of that, but are we safe? Are we free to be who we are?
Yeah.
Just imagine that person that's going through that's evolving and learning about themselves and questioning everything that challenges the family tradition, because
Yeah.
tradition is rooted in people. Just imagine, is that person, are you free to go and say, or just in the midst say, I've been so happy now because uh, let's imagine they ask, well, we haven't seen you at church, or what's going on, and you start to reveal your truth. Now,
Yes.
did you go through that, Joe, a little bit of that with?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I still go through it on some levels, right?
Really?
I'm just sitting here nodding to everything because I can so relate to it. When I went through, I call it my awakening, but it can be just a start of your self-discovery. It
Right,
could be
right,
a
it's
higher
the same
level of,
thing.
higher level of thinking, consciousness. A lot of
Absolutely.
people use different words, but
Yes.
really what it comes down to is when you start to really go within, right?
Yes.
That is when you start that intentional journey of going within and evaluating all of your belief system and how you live your life. I mean, you're going through an awakening. And
Yeah.
so when I went through that simultaneously, I also went through my divorce. And
Mhm.
so that was a tough, period of
Wow.
time to
Right.
really show up to functions, such as holiday gatherings. And here's my example, if I can share how, as human beings, how we should look at this period of time and not how we shouldn't feel shame about stepping away from obligations. So,
Right.
do you have an iPhone, Cynthia?
I
You have an
do.
iPhone? Okay, okay. Well, the reason why I asked is because I'm an iPhone user. And
Okay.
you know how iPhone is notorious for sending out those updates.
Right.
It
Yes.
seems like every other week we got an OS update. You get
Yeah.
the little
Right. Yes.
icon, the little red bubble, and
Right.
it's like,
Right. Yes.
hey, update your OS, right? And
Right.
so, but here's one thing: every time you update your OS, the entire system shuts down, right? The
Okay.
entire system has to gradually shut down. You can't access your phone.
Oh,
And
once it's
all you
updating, while
while
it's
it's
updating.
updating.
Okay.
And
Yes.
you're literally just looking, if like once you click yes update, the phone goes into, like, it gathers like all the software, right? You'll see that
Yes.
little bar,
Yes. Yes.
and you
Yes.
still have that little bit of time to do some things, but the bar is updating. And then
Yes.
once it downloads all of the things that it needs to update, the phone completely shuts down,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Like, the phone
Yes.
goes dark, then you see that little bar, and that's all you see, and you're just waiting for the bar to
Right.
update, and then you get your phone back,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was really interesting because one time in my meditation, it was like so clear to me. While phones update, it can't operate. It has to shut down and recalibrate itself.
Right.
Well, we're the same.
Absolutely.
When we're
Yes.
going through an upgrade, right? An
Mhm.
upgrade,
Yeah.
evaluation of our systems,
Right.
how we should live our life. When we're
Yes.
evaluating everything, you also need time to isolate.
Yes.
to stop
Yes.
doing all the things. And that is like your little shutdown period while the
Mhm.
bar is updating,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so for me, it was clear that sometimes when we're going through a deep metamorphosis,
Right.
when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and it does what it does,
Right.
nothing is happening that time.
Right.
So I just want people to realize that it is against our natural law, our own natural divinity to be out and about and to be exposed and to be at every function while we're upgrading.
Wow. That's really deep. When you talked about that, I am thinking of our central nervous system,
There you go.
because our central nervous system is the command center. It
Yes.
gets information, not only the audible information, but your thoughts, your feelings. It gets the information, and then it processes the information.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow time for that. And then it gives a response. Now, if you're not attentive, you'll just go on by default on autopilot.
Yeah.
That's why you have to be attentive to know what what am I feeling? And if you are, we talked about authenticity. If you
Yes.
are authentic and you listen, of course, you have to have, and with that, I believe it builds courage. Once you
Yes.
make a decision, I am in this for me. I am in this to embrace all of me and to embrace the changes. Why? Because it's going to bring freedom. Once you step into that place
Yes.
of your truth, that's where freedom bursts out.
Yeah.
That is the freedom where you will embrace, because that's the freedom that sets you free, because it is your truth. It's not
Yes.
truth from external sources like things you learned. No, it's something, we hear information from all over and we get it in, but then we process it. Our
Yes.
system, your central nervous system is your command center.
Mm-hmm.
And once you understand that, you will understand. That's why sometimes it's like I shared earlier with you. Sometimes you're talking with someone, whether it's on the phone or whatever, and you on the inside just doesn't feel right. And until you identify what is it, what is it about this conversation? What
Yep.
is it about this connection? What is it about this energy? What is it about this vibration that doesn't set well?
Yep.
You have to stop and wait for the response.
Yeah.
Then you have to have the courage to oblige for
Mm-hmm.
your sake, for your peace sake.
I love
And
it.
that's what it's like with family. But sometimes we have we make excuses, and we say, well, they're my family, and we feel obliged, obligated, responsible, right? To
Yep.
keep the relationship going. But if it's not organic and
Mm,
it's not authentic, is it really a relationship or a performative act?
that part. I love how you use the word performative. I remember listening to your show and hearing you talk in person. Like, I love that you chose the word performative, because when you're performing, it takes effort.
Yes.
It takes you wearing a mask.
Oh, yeah.
And
That too.
so, one way, and an interesting part about two things I want to add to this is that when you're performing, it drains you.
Oh, it's
You
not
will
sustainable.
know, for those that are listening to the show and like, I wonder if this is me. Well, you'll know it's you, because when you leave someone and you're in your performative state, you're going to feel tired when you leave that person.
Yes.
You're going to feel drained when you leave that conversation, that interaction,
Absolutely. Yes.
right? And I always tell people, like, what's for us, what's in alignment for us,
Yes.
never lowers our vibration. So
Right.
if you spend an hour eating lunch or dinner or on the phone, anything. And every time you leave that conversation interaction, you're just like, oh my God, I couldn't wait to get off the phone. I have a headache. I don't feel good.
Right.
That's an indication
Right.
that was a performative interaction.
Exactly. Exactly.
When you are in your natural state, when you're living in your alignment and you're just being who you are and you have the freedom and the safety to be who you are, you're never going to feel that. It's just you're going to be like, well, that was great. I can't wait to have that conversation again.
Right. Yes.
You know, that's how you know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us, in society right now, going back to the holidays, a lot of us don't really want to go to those gatherings. We already feel the shame and the guilt of, oh boy, I don't want to be there, but I have to be there.
Yeah.
So I want to touch a little bit about where shame comes from.
Okay.
Because a lot of times we take the shame and the guilt feeling and we look at that as like, well, that means I should be doing something.
Right.
Right? They take that as a gauge and says, oh, I should be there because I feel guilty. Well, here's the thing about emotions. Emotions lie to us.
Right. Yeah,
they're not real. And a lot of the guilt and shame that's been programmed into you, newsflash, are probably programmed by the people that you have to go see.
True. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a trained reaction. What you don't realize is that the people that are shaming you and guilting you in your upbringing, how you should live your life, those are probably the same people that you're feeling the guilt and the shame when you don't see them for the holidays.
Right. Yeah.
You have to connect the dots here, that it is it's a program.
Exactly.
Shame and guilt is not a natural state.
It's not. Just like fear, it's not an emotion. It's programmed. We are programmed.
There you go. Right? Yep.
And once we start to identify that, just imagine, and there was a situation that came up with someone that's going through a transition. And this person has discovered that, his life has been a lie. So he is coming out. He is coming out of his shell or closet.
He's shedding this mask. Yeah.
He's shedding his mask and he wants to be true to himself, who he is. And that's because he is part of the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
But his family, they are not aware of that.
Yeah.
And this person is having a fearful experience.
Yeah.
And every time he feels that, this is it, and I'm going to do it, he just regresses because it's fearful. And so when you ask what's triggering the fear, and the fear is losing the connection to family. Well, what kind of connection is the family to this person if he cannot come out with his truth?
Yes.
Because that's the whole thing. You're going to either live a lie or live your truth.
Yes.
And again, we're not here to judge. This is not a matter of good or bad or right or wrong. This is a situation that is real.
Yeah.
So what, he's dreading because first of all, to go to a gathering and, not being able to bring his partner, that's an issue.
Yeah.
Him, of course.
Yeah.
So he has to deal with himself and his truth. But here's another situation of a couple, a married couple, that don't get along with the husband or the wife. But your whole family, you can't bring your whole family. Why? Because they don't like the husband or they don't like the wife.
Yes.
So see, in my case, that would be an easy fix because the way my husband and I are set up, we are a unit. We are a family unit. And we set up borders or boundaries, I should say, way long time ago. So we have a good relationship with our family. It's not, but if somebody invites me someplace and I can't bring my husband, well, that just doesn't happen. But I wouldn't go. I simply wouldn't go simply because that is my priority.
Right.
And there are families that are conflicted right now.
Yep.
right now. They can't. Yeah, and then the person that's attached with the family, his family, um, it's a decision that they make. Either you stay with your wife or you go with your relatives. Well, once you
Mhm.
get married, your family that's your priority in my mind. What do you think of that, Joe?
I really believe that everyone should take time to look at what does that mean for them.
Right,
Because going back to what you're saying, a lot of couples do believe that their first priority is their family, meaning the family of the partner.
yes,
But I do also know other dynamics where once they get together, their family that they're concerned with is the immediate family, which is them.
right,
Right?
right,
So it really varies by definition
yes,
what the
absolutely.
family unit means to you. That's why it's so important for individuals who are listening to this and resonate with this to do some self-discovery work. That is really the first step that I would encourage, is
Fundamental,
that
yeah,
to take a moment,
right.
whether it's, I don't know, before Thanksgiving, I will hope, to get a journal out, get a
That's
piece of
why we're
paper
doing the show. Yeah,
out,
3 weeks before Thanksgiving. Yes,
and write out
right,
what are the values, what are the beliefs that I'm struggling with right now.
right,
And it can't be just as simple as I am supposed to show up to the family dinner because that's just the way that I've always done it.
right,
You need to be able to speak what is the current belief that you're challenged with right now.
right.
I know it sounds really simple, but a lot of us think the same thoughts 365 days a year.
Yes,
And
yes,
on a daily basis, 90% of those thoughts, and this is data driven, this is a research driven, they're the same thoughts. We're
yeah,
literally trapped in the same thoughts
right,
every single day without having solutions.
right.
And that's because we don't take the time to simply write out the things that are in our brain that are
Yeah,
keeping us up,
right. Exactly. To address them.
to
Yes.
address them, right? So
Mhm.
for you, if it's a couple that's going through that, I will write it out. What are the emotions that are connected to this thought? If it's the other person who's dealing with coming out, what are the emotions that I feel when I want to speak my truth? These are very necessary work to do in this space for you to
Yeah,
understand what am I feeling and
right.
what do I want to feel.
What
I would
to
start
you?
with that part
Right.
because once you understand your desired outcome and what you would like to feel, and then you compare that to where you are, you can kind of see that there's a huge contrast there. You have to be able to look at it from a conscious and a subconscious level, where the differences in the space that you're in.
Right. It's interesting because Thanksgiving is a time of gratitude. Right.
Yes,
That's the
supposedly.
whole thing about and when we talked earlier about living a performative life, I remember going to a Thanksgiving gathering, a Thanksgiving dinner years ago, and they gathered and said a prayer and so forth, and then they went
Yeah,
around, and each one had to give gratitude for something,
right.
and it was awkward for me because. Not that I didn't have anything to be grateful for, but that setting just didn't work for me.
Yeah,
It wasn't organic, and I had to think about something and make something up. Sure, that I was grateful for, but it's not. That just didn't work for me. So that's the whole idea. Now, see, now I am reevaluating even the holidays, and as I said earlier, and that's
yeah.
because I want to come to a place where it's like gift giving. My husband, we don't wait for Christmas to give each other a gift. If I'm
I
out
love
shopping,
that.
if I am out shopping, and I love to shop for him because he's easy to shop for. Yeah, I know his style and what, and and if I'm out shopping and I see something, that's a gift. And
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, he's so abusive now that if I, he would ask me to buy something and I buy it And he said, well, is this a gift? I'm like, no, 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 no. Put that back into the account, because he just thinks, and we make a joke out of it, because like, oh, so that was a gift for that. But the point is, and he would do the same. So we don't wait
Yeah.
for Christmas to buy gifts. We don't wait
Yes.
for every time we go out to dinner, it's our signature toast is a cheers to life. So we don't wait to be, and we are always in dialogue about the things we are grateful for.
Yeah.
But when you think, I was thinking of another situation too. You know how Thanksgiving, the families get together and they take a picture. Just imagine having to be in a picture next to Uncle Reef or whomever. And there's history, there are secrets there. What does
Mm,
that do to your internal compass?
yeah. Well, it's self betrayal. If you really want to go, I mean, we're going to get straight to it, right? Because there's no sugarcoating.
That is good.
But first, I want to say thank you for sharing with the audience how you have been able to redefine what Thanksgiving looks like for you. Because I think that's a really important part, is that once you kind of think about what you do desire, it's
Right.
time for you to take the steps to actually redefine what this holiday or this tradition or this day mean to you,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
For me and my son, we actually redefined it as a day of like helping others. So I love that you're sharing how each of us have the power to
Right.
redefine that holiday. But going back to this whole self-betrayal, right? Anytime you're doing something that is not in alignment with your truth, which is like how you really feel, right?
Yeah.
Um, it tells you're whispering to your body, your internal
Oh,
compass,
that's
that
deep.
your intuition doesn't matter.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes.
That your signal, your God-giving inner compass, I'm not listening.
Yes.
Every time you act in the direction of self-betrayal, you're literally choosing a life living for others and not for yourself.
Right. Self-betrayal. That's a powerful statement. Self-betrayal. And how many of us go through that? How many people go through that every single day?
Day,
Just the
every single day.
Yeah, just not being able to say no. Somebody asks you for something and you are not able to say no. That is
Hmm.
self-betrayal.
Yeah.
When you want to say no and you say yes.
Hmm. Showing up at a Thanksgiving dinner when you know you don't want to be there is self-betrayal. Simple enough.
Yeah.
Really, really boils down to is that you are not standing up for yourself, and you're also not strong enough to stand up for a boundary. Going back to the boundary, like we're going to keep saying this word because
Yeah,
that is the way we teach others to treat us.
exactly. Yes. And with that comes respect. I am so big on respect because I don't
Yes,
really care about love. I want you to respect my boundaries, respect my standards, respect
yes,
my voice, respect my
yes,
truth. And this conversation that we are having, Joe, you know, it's not everyone that really embrace this kind of dialogue. That's why sometimes it's a challenge to talk with people that are not growing, not evolving, simply because they are stuck in the version that you were,
yeah,
that same conversation. In the meantime, you're over here thirsting for knowledge and evolving, because
yeah,
we are meant to grow. We are created to grow. We
yes,
are created to develop, to grow, to be curious about life, to be curious
yes,
about things, and that's one of the things that I admired about you, because we were talking and I shared something. You were so curious about it and open-minded,
yeah,
certainly non-judgmental, which of course that goes without saying, but that's what I appreciate. Keep
thank
an
you.
open mind, keep an
Yeah.
open mind, and be curious, and don't judge something unless you know otherwise. And
And
that
oh, sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you for saying that. I mean, the feelings are mutual. I really believe that all of us are students of life. You know, no matter how much experience we have in something, our age, all of that, that doesn't matter. It's we can always learn something. And
Yeah.
here's the thing. As we evolve, as our consciousness elevates, and we look at the same thing in a different light. That's the thing about us, right? People don't realize is that you can learn something a year ago about something, and
Right.
then a year later you're growing, you're evolving, you're going to look at that same thing with fresh perspective.
Yes, exactly. Yes, right.
And that's the thing, is like you're going to grow out of your own belief systems. That
Yeah.
is facts.
That's good. That part. You're going to
You're going to.
outgrow your own belief system, because things that I used to believe years
Mm,
ago, I am so far from that. Why?
yes.
When you come into truth, when you
Mm,
come to that place of truth, and you know it, because again, your body will not lie to you.
that's
You,
right.
you know it.
You know it.
And that is why I am able to speak freely,
Yes.
unapologetically. And really, there's no fear, there's no worry, there's no
Yep.
apprehension,
Nope.
there's none of that, no hesitation. There is freedom. Why? Because it is the truth that has set me free, and no one
Hmm.
can challenge that. No one
And
can.
it's a glow. See it on you. I can see it. When I first met you in person, remember I said, "Oh my gosh, you're beautiful," but like there is this energy of glow from you, right? And I get the same thing when I meet other people.
Right, right.
Women, individuals who operate on a frequency of authenticity,
Yes.
they vibrate higher,
Yes.
and because of that, you have a certain glow about you, and you look better. I mean, look, I'm a woman, so I'm gonna speak to beauty. You know, it's
Right, right.
when you're walking your walk, you're gonna be more attractive. You age, your aging process is gonna look different. Like you're doing yourself a favor, okay?
Me something with that age. Age less.
Yeah, like
I
that's a
ran
whole
with
nother
that.
show. That's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
just want to say, you know, when you're operating in authenticity, it's a win-win.
Yes,
It's not
absolutely.
only a win for yourself, health wise, your nervous system, but here's the other part you don't realize. When you trigger someone by walking in your truth, by living in your truth, yeah, your family, whoever that's not happy with you not showing up, yeah, they're gonna get their feelings hurt a little. I can get probably, okay?
Right, right.
But what you don't see is that that trigger serves as a teacher for them, for their own evolution,
Right. Absolutely.
without you even knowing. They're
Yes.
going to go through their own journey based on the change that you've activated because you decided to walk in your truth.
Exactly. Yes.
I've seen it. I've seen it with women around me that I mentor. I've seen it with the women that we help through Project Beauty. It's like a ripple effect.
Yes. Yeah. Because it resonates.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people that are looking for an example, a guide, something to bounce off of, and to
Yes.
continue to because some people they may hire a coach, but that's a
Yeah.
whole different situation. But just ordinary people that sometimes you outgrow your circle, your family,
Yes.
sometimes even uh if your partner, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, my husband and I, we just celebrated, we just renewed our journey. We just renewed our journey. We don't do vows. We renewed our journey. And the thing is, we were at and we were saying, gosh, the fact that we have grown and evolved together, and we are on the same level, vibrating the same energy, that's really a great thing. Because
That's
when you
amazing.
think, and with that, it's really, we talked about this marriage and marriage vows and things like that, and it's such a farce. Because if you go back to the traditional vows, what is it? For better, for worse, richer for poor's, and till death do us part. And see, I would just revamp that whole thing because
Yeah,
really, because some marriages, it's not
fact.
till death do us part. Some marriages are seasonal. That's just the reality.
Yeah.
You can either outgrow each other, or you become an empty nester and you don't recognize the person. So it's not till death do us part. It's till perhaps till death of the relationship, till death
Mm.
of the emotions, till death of the affection, till death of the love. You could, after 10, 15 years, you find yourself with a whole different mindset. This person may be a homebody and you want to travel and discover the world, and it's just not working out. Irreconcilable differences. So you have to even redefine all of that.
Oh
You
yeah.
redefine all of that, and it's not till death. That's a whole different thing, but it's important to
Yeah.
recognize.
I
We
love that.
talked about that. We said, wow, I mean, we are still going on the same uh vibrational level, and that's a good thing. But it's not because we didn't say traditional vows. So that
Hmm.
doesn't even apply to us. But for people that are still saying traditional vows, and then they renew the same vows, no shade
Yeah.
on that. That's just, but
No, 100%. I agree with you. And I love that you guys redefine that as well, right? Again, this is just another belief system in which
yeah,
you have to go back to your self-discovery
yeah,
journey and
right,
say, what do I believe about marriage or sacred union? As
right,
someone who officiate weddings for so many couples all over the world, my most recent wedding was someone here in the area, and they actually just celebrated their 1 year anniversary. And I practice non-traditional unions. So for us, we don't say vows. We talk about unions, partnership. And
great.
so
I like
when I
that.
was counseling them on their premarital leading up to their sacred union, I remember telling them that in the indigenous times, in many indigenous tribes, every 7 years the couple will come together and actually sit down and evaluate, do we have a purpose to continue? And
Wow.
they actually do not look at it as a negative thing. It is expected in their culture, in their practices, that it's okay for two people to come and evaluate every 7 years to decide if there's anything that if there is a reason to continue. And if not, they actually part ways with no animosity. Now, of course, obviously, this concept is talked about casually in this way, but of course, there are more to it, right? But when you set the foundation of partnership in a way where the other parties can understand, hey, this may not be forever, but it
Right.
is to the highest good of both parties involved, is what I
Right.
say.
Oh yeah, that's good.
When you go into the union with that type of understanding,
Right.
it takes away that weird feeling, that resistance when it's time to say, you know what, I think we've done all we can with each other in 7 years. Actually,
Right.
it may look like your growth takes you towards one direction and mine takes me here, but
Wow.
respectfully, we've enjoyed the 7 years, right? Because I've,
Yeah.
I've counseled couples who've done this, and the feedback is always the same. They say, Joe, our marriage, our union have completely transformed because of the expectation have changed. I know
Mm,
couples who are still married and they're into like what, 2 decades. So they've had almost 3 visits and they decided to stay. And I have couples who I know that have ended it right after several
wow.
of those. But what I've noticed is that when you enter the space differently, when you part ways, those feelings are not like a traditional divorce couple that you see that takes vows.
Right. There's no animosity. There is
Yeah.
no.
I mean, we're
Well,
off topic now, but I just want to say
right,
that
right,
like
right,
it's another major belief system in our society.
right. And to that I say it's part of breaking tradition.
There you
And I
go.
talk a lot about that simply because
Yeah,
a lot of our
girl.
traditional values are outdated. And if you don't and see, like me, I don't wait for society to impose upon me the what the collective is doing. I create my own. I
Ooh,
create my own. I
yes.
always say you live life on your own terms, because
Yes.
who is the collective that's creating that? They're people like you and I. That's why I always
Yes.
say to you, my audience, that you have to know what your birthright is, and know that you have the ability to create. You have the right. You have the freedom to create what works for you. You have the freedom to do whatever works for you, as long as you don't infringe on the freedom of someone else or hurt someone else. You can do
Yes.
whatever you want.
Love that.
And that's where some people get stuck and stifled and burdened, simply because they need a little bit of courage. And hopefully through this interaction today with Joe, you would gain some courage to break out of that prison. Sometimes the door, we live with the prison doors open, but we stay in there. We stay in there when we don't move, because it's a place of comfort. But where there's comfort, there's no growth.
No growth. No growth.
Right?
Yep. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
You have to make your own rules. You got to create life on your own terms. I love everything you're saying.
Yes, you have to. And that's why, you can walk around and you're happy. And then the thing is, you are attracting positive, optimistic things, positive experiences, situations, circumstances to your life. Why? Because that is the expectation that you have placed on yourself. That's the information that you are sending to your whole nervous system.
Yes.
We are good here, and we are safe, and we are
Yes.
healthy, and we are happy.
And I have the right to choose. That is the most powerful thing, is that you have the right to choose.
Yes.
The nervous system loves it when we're able to communicate to it that we have a choice.
Yes.
Because when you don't have a choice, it's like you said, you're in prison, right? You have no freedom.
Right.
But liberation, freedom is our natural state. So when the nervous system knows that you have the backing, right, to say, yes, I can choose this for myself, the nervous system is like, oh, yes, let me give you more. Let me give you more.
Yes, exactly. These are things I know. When we met for lunch, we could have carried on all day. We had to stop, just because there's just so much to discuss and to unfold. And when you get two minds that are curious and that are open, and at the same time, the same energy flowing, it's just really insurmountable. You can go on and on and on. And but let's cover one more. We talked about the family illusion, and then how it can be toxic, rooted in obligation and guilt and so forth, and having to redefine family is not by blood or by DNA, but is the people that you bring together. But what would happen when we stop forcing that, when we stop forcing thankfulness and start being honest and start talking about truth instead of the traditional value? What if you were to show up, with your family and share truth? What would that look like, do you think, Joe?
Well, this is a great question to end the show, because this is where most people struggle, right?
Yes.
Because most people listen to that question and their brain automatically goes to the worst. That if I choose to redefine the holidays, if I choose to do what I want to do and what aligns with me, people will be disappointed. They're going to hate me. They're going to have stories to say. They're going to judge me. So that's what fear really comes from, right? Like if we get down to the nitty gritty of why we have fear, it's really core, our ego. We fear that we're going to be rejected by our community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's our biggest fear as human beings walking around this planet. Rejection by our community is one of the biggest things that we struggle with in our ego self. And so what I encourage for individuals who are listening to this is that you have to know this. when you choose things that are in alignment with our soul, when we choose to say, you know what, I'm going to live my truth and speak my truth, no matter if it's one tiny step beginning with Thanksgiving.
Right.
What you're ultimately doing is that you're creating a pathway, a timeline, a possibility in your life, and also in the lives of those of you that you're connected to.
Yes.
That there is another way to live.
Oh,
it's gonna feel very uncomfortable at first because you've never been here. Like
right.
you may take this show, you may listen to this show and decide, you know what, I am gonna make a call and I am gonna say, hey, by the way, this Thanksgiving, I'm just gonna stay and do something else, or whatever you decide to say.
Right.
That immediate step in the new direction and the new pathway is going to feel so scary. And you're probably going to immediately hang up and feel like you just done the worst thing.
Right. Yes.
But when that emotion arises and you feel like, oh my God, here we go. Everybody's judging me. I'm being outcast. I want you just to take a moment and breathe. And say, all is well in my world.
Right.
I took the first step to do something different.
Yes.
And I am okay with whatever that may comes because it is honoring my highest truth.
Wow.
Out of that vibration of truth, you're going to see that this ripple effect of truth is going to outwardly affect all of the connections and the relationship around you. It may not be like an immediate reflection where you're like, oh, people are treating you differently, but I guarantee you, your inner mind is going to manifest in your outer reality. And you're going to slowly see that people are going to respect your decisions more.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
People are going to treat you differently. Mm-hmm. It's these little changes, micro changes that you may notice in your day-to-day.
Right.
But once you start stepping into your truth and really just honoring that, you're going to notice it gets easier and easier and easier.
Wow. That is a good close. You know, I want to thank you for, for your contribution. You have really shared some great truth that will even benefit me. And that's why, we resonate with each other so well. For those of you, again, I want to give you Joe's website. It's called theprojectbeauty.org. Visit that website and learn a little more about Joe and what she does. And it may not be you. You may have a friend, and you don't have to be local. You could be someplace else. Is that correct, Joe? Is that?
Yeah. That would take you to the nonprofit organization that I create.
Okay.
You can send me a message there. I read all the messages.
Okay.
But yes, it's beneficial to anyone. It's empowering to anyone.
Great. And if you want to drop me a line, go to info@thecynthialinoxshow.com. And again, I'm also a life coach. And remember that 30-minute complimentary session is available to you if you want to have the support and a guide to walk alongside with you. In the meantime, we're going to leave you with that so that you can sup on all the information that we have given you and come up with your own. Do a little research about Thanksgiving and find out what it's all about. And just educate yourself so that you would know and then make a decision if that's, works for you or not. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend. Of course, there's tomorrow, Friday. In the meantime, hasta luego, amigos. A tu talur.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Same place.